I'm Gregory Morgan, and you are watching Love Talk. Thank you for joining my show. It's very exciting to be back live again. We were in Toronto for a couple of weeks doing some workshops there. We did the Women Only workshop, Honor, Integrity, and Mastery workshop, and the Advanced Women Only workshop. And then we had a wonderful evening seminar as well. So that was pretty exciting to see all of our friends in Toronto again. We talk about the blessings of love, but we also talk about the difficulties, or as one of my staff members put, the hardships of love. If you open your heart, if you take someone into your heart and you allow somebody into your heart and you coexist with people on that level, you will have painful experiences, and that's just part of that's part of life. And so the difference between our technology at Embrace Growth and the technology that you will find in most places, most counselors or marriage counselors or psychologists or psychiatrists will normally deal with pain as if it's something to get away from, as if it is something to avoid or to take a pill for, so that you might still have the pain, of course, but you just won't feel it anymore. Or you will have some other habit that will develop. But pain is actually, if you think about it, if you catch your finger in a door, it hurts. Now, if it did not hurt, that would be very strange, and you could get damaged. You could like lose your finger or something, right? So pain is a signal that you need to do something about it. And naturally, the most efficient thing that you could do on a survival level is to move away from the pain, right? You put your hand on a hot stove, you move away from it. That's a signal to avoid being damaged. And on a physical level, that's very true. And I suggest that if you have physical pain, that you find a way to move away from that as quickly as possible, so that you don't damage yourself. However, we as human beings are complex. We have a very sophisticated and complex structure, nervous system, and so we're capable of experiencing other types of pain that other organisms, dogs, cats, cows, things like that, probably don't experience at all, okay? We have the ability to experience a psychological pain, mental pain, emotional pain, and spiritual pain. And those forms of pain, hardship, challenge, difficulty, whatever you want to call them, those forms of difficulty are signals that you do need to do something about it, but it isn't necessarily a signal that you need to move away from it. Much of our psychological pain, much of our emotional pain, a result of conditioning that we have adapted to over time. Maybe as a child, you wanted, orange juice, and you go into the kitchen and you're a little kid and you say, "Mommy, I want some orange juice." And she is busy and she says, "Don't bother me right now," or "Go away," or she ignores you completely. But somehow or another, you don't get your orange juice and you don't get the attention and the love and affection that you wanted at that moment. And so you will experience a kind of pain that is unique to humans. And it's not just the needing of orange juice. It would be the needing of something else, or the wanting of something else that you did not receive from your mother, and you could carry that pain around. My mother doesn't love me, she doesn't pay attention to me, she doesn't take care of me, and you will add that to a stack of painful experiences throughout your lifetime, because every time you have an experience that your mother doesn't love you, or anything that even remotely resembles that your mother doesn't care for you or isn't taking care of you, you will add that to the stack. You will search through your memory instantly, okay? It doesn't even take a millisecond. You'll instantly refer to all previous experiences that resembled that one, seeking validation. You will validate, yep, see, that's just like that last time that happened, or the 10 other times that happened. It resembles that, therefore that validates that it's true. My opinion, my conditioning, my mental attitude, my psychological mindset, and ultimately my spiritual outlook on life My spiritual outlook on life is unfair and poor me, and I didn't ask to come here, and they should take care of me, and they don't, and all of those victim type attitudes and outlooks on life, which will give you a life of pain. Those attitudes, that conditioning, that self-hypnosis, that self-convincing. Now, if your mother didn't give you orange juice, does that mean she doesn't love you? No, of course not. Of course that doesn't mean that. But as a child, as a 3-year-old or a 4-year-old, you could make it mean that, you see. You could make it mean that, and you could carry that attitude forward, constantly searching for and finding evidence for what by the time you're 10 years old is a fact. It's a fact that my mother doesn't love me or care for me, or that, she doesn't give me the things that I want. And then you will develop a rebellious attitude, or you will find manipulative ways to get your mother to love you and give you the things that you want. And then later on in life, if you're a man, you might manipulate women in the same way. If that manipulation works, right? If you find a particular manipulation mode that works, you'll try it on other girls or your school teacher, or anybody that's of the opposite sex. You might try it on men and it doesn't work, so you go, okay, that doesn't work with those guys, so you'll try something else. And you'll develop personality traits designed to get you what you think you want, which is love and affection and acknowledgement and feeling taken care of and all of that stuff, and then carry that forward into life, into your relationships. Can you imagine when a guy's 40, 45 years old and he meets a woman that he loves and he's trying to get her to treat him like his mother? How painful, how many painful experiences can you generate from that type of a mental attitude? So when I talk about the hardships of love, most of those hardships are brought on by ourselves. And they're brought on by a type of mental conditioning that we have that is caused in the origins, at the beginning, at the basis of it, was basically to have you survive. Is ultimately to have you survive, and have your heart keep beating and your lungs keep breathing. I mean, it was basically very primitive and rudimentary programming developed by a primitive brain designed to get you what you need to survive. Later, as we as human beings became more sophisticated, we began to project ourselves onto other things and other people and other circumstances. So now when your mother says, no, you can't have orange juice, you don't hear, no, you can't have orange juice. You hear, I don't love you. You hear, all is lost. You hear something other than no orange juice, right? I just laughed because I thought, what if somebody's just joining this show and they think I'm doing a show about orange juice? By the way, this is not orange juice. I started off to tell you the difference, if you will, between the approach that we take at Embrace Growth and the basis of the foundation of our technology, which is reflected in the name Embrace Growth. Okay? And that is that the challenges that you have in life, the mental, emotional, psychological, spiritual challenges that you experience that could be painful for you, we say don't avoid those, actually move towards those things which cause you pain and embrace them. Now, I'm not saying go out and look for trouble and try to find painful situations. I'm saying that as you move through life, painful situations will come up. Now, some of these painful situations may be caused of your complete lack by your lack of integrity. That's okay. Your lack of integrity will definitely cause you to have painful experiences in your life. But if you were to authentically embrace those situations and go, I wonder what I had to do with this. How can I look at this situation in such a way that it will not only resolve this situation, in other words, resolve the painful situation or the challenge, but make sure that that doesn't come around anymore. In other words, most of us have repetitive situations. For many of you, your current relationship looks a whole lot like 2 or 3 other relationships you've had in the past. You keep having the same painful situations over and over again. Different people, different circumstances, same relationship, same stuff, same unresolved issues. So everything that you'll find in our seminars, workshops, books, CDs, DVDs, private sessions, everything that's at the basis of Embrace Growth is we'll have you to actually face that. Everybody's afraid to face the truth about themselves because everybody has something that I call the big ugly, okay? You have something that you consider as big and ugly about you and that you don't want anybody to know about. You don't even want to admit to yourself. You want to pretend it's not there, and you will build an entire personality and social structure and clothing and careers and everything based on making sure nobody ever finds out this ugly thing about you. And then when you finally face this thing and deal with it for what it really is, you find out that, well, God, I could have done that 20 years ago or 30 years ago or 40 years or a lifetime ago. I could have maybe not wasted my life trying to hide from myself and everybody else and just been authentic with myself from the very beginning. And maybe I should forgive myself for doing that and move on with my life and have the ability to face whatever is confronting in my life. Just face it. Actually deal with it. And at Embrace Growth, you know, obviously we don't just say, oh, go deal with your life. We give you the tools. We give you the communication skills. We give you the ability to look within yourself. Now, you've always had that ability, so it's inauthentic of me to say we give you. We don't give you anything. We point you in the direction of something that you've already had. What if you were to discover that you had a hidden treasure of resources within yourself, the ability to communicate with anybody about any circumstance at any time and to get things resolved? What if you had that ability within you already? I say you do, and you just don't know it yet. You haven't discovered it. What if you had the ability within you to forgive anything, and I mean anything, to give up your right to hold resentments and to make people wrong and to use that blame and shame and guilt to try to elevate yourself above others and to put them down? Or what if you had the ability to forgive yourself and to stop feeling guilt and shame and sadness and that you were unworthy of being loved and adored and living a beautiful, magnificent life and having everything that you ever desired? What if you had within you that ability already? And I say that you do. And there were layers of considerations, thoughts, opinions, filters that had been imposed upon you by your religion, by your parental upbringing, by the society in which you lived, even by the language that you speak, which uses certain words that are convincer words that have neuralistically programmed you with language so that you actually take things for granted as being true that aren't even true. What if all of that you were able to see, and not only were you able to see that, but you were able to let go of those habits and conditionings and well-being and well-beings and ways of being in not only letting them go, but in a very short period of time? What if you have been carrying around with you a heavy load of things that were keeping you from being turned on and excited and lit up and excited about life, and you were able to put those things down and go, I don't ever have to pick those up again. I never have to pick up those heavy considerations, guilt feelings, all that stuff ever again. You're free to. We don't take away your ability to feel guilty or to feel bad. We just give you a circumstance. We create a circumstance in which you are able to, in a very, it may not seem quick when you're in a workshop for 3 days. It may seem like, man, this thing's going on and on. But compared to 30 or 40 years of your life being lost and maybe a couple of divorces and losing the respect of your family and your children and your community, or losing a house or two and all your finances, compared to that, it's a very short period of time. So in a 2 or 3 day workshop, if you were able to let go of a lifetime of conditioning and look out into your future and see a lifetime of possibility where you were actually free to choose the kind of life you had, would that be something that would be worth 2 or 3 days of your life? Would that be something that you would be willing to invest something in, your time, your money, and energy in? If you could give that away. Well, we say at Embrace Growth that we've been doing this for the last 15 years now, and we've done it with thousands of people, and the results have been astounding over and over and over again. So in a predictable, almost certain way, we're able to produce an environment with our wonderful staff and assistants around the world in you know, the best venues that we can find, and create a workshop atmosphere in which it is safe for you to actually challenge those things about yourself that you've always wanted to hide, and get down to what I call the big ugly, and then you find out, so what? Everybody's got that. Everybody's got one of those. You know, yours is, you know, you think, oh, mine's so special. No, nobody's ever had this happen to them. My, you know, horrible thing that I don't want anyone to know about. I can tell you from dealing with thousands and thousands of people that basically I've never met somebody that didn't have something that they were holding on to that was keeping them in a state of mind that is limiting them, and that's surrounded by some kind of withholding. When you uncover what are you withholding about, it's because they feel ashamed, or they feel afraid, or they feel like nobody could trust them, or they feel unloved, or they feel unworthy. And I can pretty much guarantee you that every person I've ever met has one or all of those things going on with them. And so it's like, well, I feel it's like if you met someone new and you want, and they, you know, you have this feeling of love and admiration and excitement, and you want to you know, get into their life and have them come into your life. And so you sit down and you start to communicate with them, and you start to feel this affection and this affinity. But in the back room, behind all of the facade and the social makeup that you put on, there's this conversation going on like, I hope they never find out who I really am. I hope they never, I'm never going to tell them about this. You know, no matter what, I'll never give this up, or I'll never share this. Or so there's a part of you that you hold within yourself that you never let anybody touch, and that keeps you alone and isolated. And eventually it shows up in every marriage. It shows up in every relationship, especially when there's intimacy involved, when there's sexual relationships involved, which I hope for you there is. You know, I hope every one of you are having great sexual relationships with the person that you love, and that it is satisfying and fulfilling and intimate. Now, if it's not, it's because there's something the one or both of you are holding back and afraid to share and to participate in. So the work that we do at Embrace Growth is to assist you in living the fullest, most fully expressed life that you possibly can, and sharing that with others because you can, because you have the ability to, because it would be a shame not to, and nothing can hold you back. That's a little bit about Embrace Growth and about what we're talking about. Maybe it's a lot about Embrace Growth and what we're talking about, but that's what I'd like to speak with you about today on this show, would be the difficulties that people face, the challenges that people face in love relationships.
A man of character, responsibility, and resourcefulness. Become that man and join us on the journey towards manhood, finding a better person within. Embrace Growth is offering the Honor, Integrity, and Mastery Workshop in Toronto, Yerevan, and Los Angeles. Sign up today at embracegrowth.com and see the transformation in your life.
دستهایم را در باغچه می کارم. سبز خواهم شد. میدانم.
تولدی دیگر. نمایشگاه نقاشی‌های مجده حبیبی به یاد فروغ فرخزاد.
گوشواری به دو گوشم می آویزم از دو گیلاس سرخ همزاد و به ناخنهایم برگ گل کوکب می چسبانم.
شنبه 10 و یکشنبه 11 فوریه 4 تا 8 بعد از ظهر در بلو 7 گالری 3129 پیکو بولوارد در شهر سانتا مونیکا. 818 486 76 19.
در کارگاه‌های آموزشی بانوان به رهبری دکتر آزیتا سایان با دستیابی به اهمیت و ارزش واقعی خود، قدرت زنانگی و آرامش خود را بازیابید. محیطی مناسب و هیجان انگیز برای رشد و شکوفایی عشق، ازدواج و خانواده خلق کنید. زنی شاد باشید، قلب مردان را بشناسید و آنها را درک کنید. کارگاه آموزشی بانوان، اروپا، 20 تا 22 آپریل. برای ثبت نام با تخفیف ویژه پاییزی با شماره 310 460 2600 تماس بگیرید.
You see, I'm much more interested in a dialogue, which means two, than a monologue, which means one. And I don't believe that it's as interesting for you as the viewer just to watch me speak about general terms or to answer questions from people that aren't present. So it's sort of a one-way conversation. I would much rather have a conversation with you regarding no, that's not a video to show, regarding the things that are going on in your life. So in the meantime, I will answer questions about what's going on in some other people's lives, and you'll be able to map onto your own life some of these answers so that it maybe will make sense to you. Some of these things may or may not be things that you're concerned about. So the first one is, I am a 30-year-old, I'm assuming it's a woman because she says, my boyfriend, I'm a 30-year-old studying PhD. My boyfriend is 34 years old and has only a diploma. I suppose that means high school. He has a successful business. We're getting married next year after I graduate. Would this difference in our level of education cause a problem later on? I would say only if you cause a problem. You know, the marriage isn't about your degree or your diploma or your status in life. However, for women, marriage is a status thing, okay, more than it is for men. When we think of a man, think of it this way. When we think of a man, we don't think about, is he a married man or a single man, unless you're looking for a mate. But when we think of a woman as being single or married, that is a different status in life that we associate with a woman. A married woman somehow is imbued by society. It's not my choosing. So yeah, don't shoot the messenger, but society views a married woman as a different status than a single woman. Now you know that and I know that. For women, marriage is a status change, and so she normally, I'll say normally, traditionally is what I meant to say. Traditionally, a woman would marry a man of higher status, okay, and would gain status, or she would be looking for a man with equal or higher status than herself as a means of raising her own status in the eyes of society or culture or her family. Education, financial status, all of those things are taken into consideration much more. So as a PhD, you will outrank him. Your PhD outranks his diploma, if you will. Okay? It is a higher status of education. Now, certainly that's not a problem for me because I wouldn't consider somebody to be married because of their status, you see? I would think that if people are going to marry, there's a couple of things that you would certainly want to take into consideration. Financial ability, And that has nothing to do with your education as far as I can tell. Okay, I know people with PhDs who can't keep a job, or who are literally working for others their entire life. And then I know an abundance of people who do not have PhDs. I'm one of them, who employ people who have PhDs. Okay, so I don't think that my own life is a good example for me, anyhow, good enough example for me to say that your level of education, at least your level of academic education, does not necessarily determine your status in life. It's who you are and what you do with your life that matters. And so I would imagine that if you're marrying this man, it's because you have something in common with him that you want to embrace and have in your life. I would hope that it's because you love him and that he is a good and loyal and honorable man that can provide for himself and others, and meaning you and any children that you might have. That's what matters. When and that you don't sort of lord your higher education over his head and use it to make him feel or to try to make him feel inferior. A man who's self-possessed would not be intimidated by somebody's education anyhow. Okay? If he knows who he is and what he's doing, and he's good at something, and he's mastering his life, and he's a very capable man, then he's self-determined. And you can have 5 PhDs and that'd be fine with him. It doesn't threaten who he is. However, it might bother you. So again, the short answer to your question is it's not going to be a problem unless you make it one. Now, we have a caller on the line. I'll take that call. Hello, this is Gregory, and you are live on the air.
Hello, Mr. Morgan. Thank you very much for all your interesting programs.
Thank you. You're welcome.
Thank you for all your interesting programs. I've learned a lot. You and your wife. I'm talking about my son. I would like to talk about...
okay, you have a 16-year-old son.
16, yes. He's going to be 16 soon. And he's just finished his exams. And I quite liked him to enter to some kind of a scheme that in Europe they started. It's similar to what they do in America with teenagers, to take them to some sport activities, some making them independent and charity works. And I thought it would be really interesting for him, and it will really build up his confidence, and he will make new friends, and it will be really joyful as well as being learning, good foundation for him. The problem is he never shows any interest on this kind of activities. He's just sitting in his bedroom, going to, playing games or talking to his friends. He's very sociable.
I'm hearing that you have a 16-year-old son and you want him to do some volunteer work or participate in a sport or something like that, and that he's not interested in it. You said he just likes to sit in his room and play games, but then what was surprising is I think I heard you say he is very sociable, or did you say he is not very sociable?
He is quite sociable. If he needs a push to go to this kind of thing, because he hasn't been doing this kind of things for a while, so he needs a push from us as a parent to push him. But unfortunately, my husband is not much helpful, and it's only me. And he keeps saying, yes, but we shouldn't push him if he goes. What if he's not happy, he does something silly there? Which I know, the son I've brought up, he would never do anything stupid. He will go and will just see how interesting these programs are. He will enjoy and join to them. And I even willing to say, okay, you go for just the first week. If you are not happy, you can come back and don't go to the rest of the weeks. It's only 4 weeks. Which they
4 weeks
Monday
of what?
Monday,
4 weeks of what?
It's a scheme from government is for teenagers. The first week is like canoeing, sporting, rock climbing. The second week is doing like residential. They take them to university and they teach them how to be independent when they go to university, how to cook, what to do. I'm just saying general things that they've told me. And the third week is charity works, Right. Work for charity organizations.
So is he doing that all day, every day for 3 or 4 weeks?
Yes, I think so, yes.
Okay. I'm just going to ask you to think about when you were 16 years old. A week was a very long time then.
Yes.
Right? You could fill a week up with a lot of things when you were 16. And a summer was like precious. If you've been in school every day for 9 months or something, summer days were something that you've been looking forward to all this time, right?
That's right, yes.
Now, I'm not saying that you should not. You're using the word push, okay? And
Yes.
while I realize that that's a convenient word, it has with it an aggressive feeling. Do you know what I mean?
Mm.
Like if somebody is resisting, you should push them. Nobody likes to be pushed.
That's right. Yes,
Right.
I understand what you mean.
So nobody likes to be pushed. However, in fact, most people, if you push, they kind of push back, right? Right? If I pushed you, wouldn't you kind of push back?
Yes, what I mean.
But I mean, it's normal that he's pushing back,
Yes.
right? So you're kind of, and I think that your question is more about, well, I'm pushing him, but the father's not, and you want the father to push him. Is that what your question's about? What is your question about?
I just wanted to encourage him. I wanted to ask you, how can I encourage him?
Well, why don't you find out what he really likes and is passionate about, and support him in doing it. There's a difference between pushing somebody to do something and lifting someone up so that they could do the things that they really want to do anyhow.
Yes, but the problem is, it's been for a while. He doesn't do any sport. We keep asking him, why don't you go to join to this? He likes basketball, for example. He comes home in our garden. He does some basketball. I asked him, why don't you join the basketball team in your school? You know, Mom, they are very high. They are very good at specialized. I can't.
Because you're asking the wrong question, and this is from neuro-linguistic programming. If you ask a question, why don't you anything, then the brain will automatically, the subconscious mind automatically goes to work and finds the answer to that question, which is all the reasons why you don't. Wrong question. How can I support you in being on the basketball team? Wouldn't it be great to be on the basketball team? I see you like basketball.
Yes.
Yeah,
I have said, maybe the way I said to you, I have said, oh, I can see you've got a good speed, you are tall, and
Yeah.
why
But
don't
then
you do
all it takes is
encourage him.
one wrong word, why don't you? And he'll tell you all the reasons why he don't.
Mm-hmm.
Right? He'll tell you all the negative reasons that are standing between him and being on the basketball team, which, you know, the more you ask why don't you, the more reasons he'll find. So as parents, nobody gave you this training. No, you know, nobody's ever given anybody this training. You have to go out and find it and pay for it. But in neuro-linguistic programming, which is one of the certifications that I carry, you know, you learn that the mind will always go to work to answer a question. And sometimes it will tirelessly work on answering a question until it finds the right answer. So it's very important to ask the right questions. Now, I personally think that the educational system is set up in such a way that boys who, you know, like to climb trees and ride bicycles and, you know, throw things and ram into each other and, you know, do all kinds of, you know, sort of semi-physical violent things, you know, are forced for hours and hours and days and days and years and years and years to sit at a desk and look at somebody writing something that they're not at all interested in and try to memorize it and then regurgitate some kind of knowledge that they're probably not even interested in.
Yeah.
They could care less about 90% of the stuff that's in the schools that they're being taught. They need to read, write, and do arithmetic, and if they're passionate about one of those things, learn some, you know, literature and some things like that. I'm not saying that education's not good. I'm saying the way that it's delivered is not healthy for boys. If you look at the statistics of children on Ritalin, okay, that are diagnosed as being attention deficit disorder, you will find that about 85 to 90% of them are boys. Why? Because the educational system is not adapted to the male brain. The male brain simply does not like that format, you know, of learning. And yet when they want to learn something, you can't stop them.
That's right.
Right? When he wants to learn something, man, you know, he will learn it. And if he's given the opportunity to learn it and encouraged to learn it and you know, appreciated and congratulated and acknowledged for learning it, and he sees it as a way of not only satisfying himself but satisfying the people around him, meaning his parents and his loved ones, that they admire him for it, that would even encourage him more to do the thing that he likes to do anyhow.
Yes.
So I don't know what kind of classes he takes at school, but you know, they're mind numbing, and so they want to go home, close the door, and get into an environment that they can control, where nobody's telling them what to do for at least a few hours, and you know, explore using their brain. They the games are so popular because they get to use their brain in ways that are interesting.
Are they? I'm saying, yeah, I'm asking. You know, playing these kind of games, digital games, aren't they dangerous for their mind that make them more depressed, or they fall to depression?
It's too general of a question to be answered accurately. Any answer I give to you about that particular question, are the games dangerous, presupposes that I know every game that's out there and what they do, and I don't know anything about them. Okay, I just what I do know about them is that when I have played them or participated with the teenagers in our family that love to play them and that are very good at it, that they're brilliant. The hand-to-eye coordination, the whole thing of anticipating what's about to happen and responding immediately, all of those are kind of male activities. Males like to do that. The male mind likes to strategize and win. It likes challenges. You know, men like to put some kind of projectile into some small space, right? A basket into a ball into a basket, or a puck into a net or something, right? They love the challenge of that. Or shoot at a target and hit it. That's a male activity. Males like to do that.
Yes, but exactly. He's doing all this without leaving his room, without feeling that he needs to do sport to do.
Well, I would rather he do sports too, but he's got to want to do it. Now, my father made me do sports. He said, if you don't do some kind of sport, then you can't do some other thing I wanted to do. I can't remember what it was I wanted to do, but I wanted to do something, and that was the deal we made, right? So I did wrestling, I did baseball, I did football. I tried all these various sports, and I was pretty good at, you know, I won a state championship in wrestling. You know, I got pretty good at these different things, and I'm so glad I did. Now, my father made a deal with me. He didn't say you have to go do sports. He just said, if you want this, then do that. That's the price, right?
Exactly.
Right? He cut me a deal, and I was like, okay, whatever it was I wanted. I don't know. It was a bicycle, or I wanted to go to some summer camp or something. It was something I wanted to do, and he said, you can do that all you want, but you got to go do this. Do some kind of sport. And it turned out I was very athletic, and it formed my muscular system and my body and everything for a lifetime. And I found out, for example, I wasn't very good at team sports. Turns out that I'm better at, there's some sports that are like golf, maybe tennis. That's not, I mean, you can do tennis as a team, but it's a one-on-one thing. Wrestling was a one-on-one thing, even though it's part of a team. So some people prefer one-on-one type sports, or sports where you're actually playing against your own skill set, right? Mm-hmm. And some people like to be a part of a team that works together, like basketball or football or something like that, where you're actually interacting and working with other people. That can be exciting also. However, I recommend the sports, but I recommend you cut him a deal rather than push him or manipulate him or force him to do something that he doesn't want to do, because he's been doing that all year during school.
Yes.
He's had an entire year of that.
that yes, I was saying to my husband that we better to make deal with him. Like if he wants to go to Iran, okay, that's fair enough. But he needs to. It would be nice if he goes to this skiing, even for 1 week, if he doesn't like to all 4 weeks, just for the fun part, the sport part, which is the first week, to go for this one. Or, for example, he's got expensive mobile which is broken, and he wanted that to fix it for him. I've been suggesting to my husband that why don't you make deal about this? Or even I have even made him that willing to make deal with him that I can, for each week you stay, I'll pay you this amount of money. I know, but paying money for something that is going to be fun. I don't
encourage that kind of behavior.
And then to see for himself that how joyful it is. And after that, I'm sure he's going to stay and he's not going to come back.
I need to give you an answer because first of all, your question is like all over the place. I'm not sure exactly what it is. And secondly, I feel like I've given you an answer, but you're telling me all the reasons why that won't work. So I'm not sure what you're committed to here.
No, what I was going to ask you as a 16-year-old parent, can we tell him we can't push him, basically, you're saying. Now we can't say, no, you have to go for 1 week at least.
Well, look, how does life work? You do what is required or else there's consequences, right? Isn't that how life works?
That's right. Yes.
You pay for your house or they take it away from you, right?
Yes.
You drive like and pay attention to the lines in the road and the stop signs and stuff, or they take your driver's license away.
Okay.
Right? You pay your phone bill or they take your phone away. Life has consequences. It has alternatives and it has choices. You could choose to always pay your mortgage and always drive right? You could choose that, right? Yeah. And if you choose not to, there's consequences. And if you choose to, there's consequences. You get to keep the privilege, right? So, you see, there's no consequences for your 16-year-old son. If he does whatever the heck he wants, he still has the same life. He still has his room and his computer and his cell phone and his whatever else he's got privileges that he has. There's no consequences. And he has 2 full-grown adults who are not only paying for everything, but who are kind of begging him to cooperate with them. I suggest you be a parent. And a parent says, you do this or else you lose that privilege. Okay? These are the privileges that I'm paying for and supporting. You're living in my house. You're my child. That means you're inferior and I'm a superior. You don't have to say it that way, but that's the truth. You're superior in that you can provide a house, clothing, insurance policies, all kinds of stuff that he can't. That makes you superior. You understand?
Yes.
Okay, so you have this superior person being dominated by an inferior. I'm saying, grow up and be a parent and say, look, wait a minute, this is my house. I'm actually in charge here, okay? And in this relationship, the one between you and me where I'm the mother and you're the child, you're legally a minor and you're a child, and so I have a responsibility to tell you and to share with you and to teach you the things that are going to make your life fantastic. And you don't get to vote about it. Okay?
Yes.
It's going to go this way, and if you don't like it, that's okay. I hope you do. I would prefer it if you like it, but if you don't like it, too bad. It's part of growing up. I had to do things that I didn't like when I grew up, didn't you? Did your parents tell you if you didn't want to do it, that's okay, we'll pay for it anyhow?
No, not really.
No, if I said I want to take swim lessons because I want to be a very good swimmer, I could already swim, but I wanted to be an excellent swimmer. I liked swimming, and I saw other kids that could do things I couldn't. I wanted to learn how to do it. I didn't get to, after a week or 2 of swim lessons, say, I didn't like it that much, I don't want to go. No, get your butt over there, and you finish them, and you become a good swimmer. And thank God they did that, because now, if I needed to, I could swim a mile or 2, okay? Yeah. And I got 10 different ways I could do it, okay? And that kind of thing doesn't leave you. Do you know what I'm saying? They gave me a gift by making me do something even though I didn't really feel like it halfway through it.
Exactly.
Right? My dad said, "You're going to play baseball." I don't like baseball. Well, then play football. Anyhow, he gave me things to do, and some of them were hard, and some of them I was better at than others, right?
Yeah.
I found that I could hit a baseball out of the park. Who knew, right? Right?
Yeah.
I was never very good at getting the ball in the basket. I just wasn't good at that. They said you should play football because you're knocking into everybody all the time. When I play basketball, everybody falls down, and then I can get the ball in the basket. He needs to. The only way he's going to find out what he's good at and what he's passionate about is by being challenged. And if his biggest challenge is on a computer screen that he can manipulate with his thumbs, then guess what? Life doesn't work like that, does it?
Yes, exactly. But unfortunately, all these you're saying, Mr. Morgan, I've been saying to my husband that all these privileges that we've given him, you have to take it away. So he understands that he can't just sit down in his bedroom and do whatever he likes.
Okay, and your husband's not okay with taking away the privileges?
Too soft. And when our son is crying or, getting depressed and not doing anything, my husband starts worrying at all. He's falling into. In fact, he has already fallen into depression, my son.
Well, your husband is raising a wimp. Do you know what I mean by a wimp? Somebody that is not manly, somebody that will not grow up to be a man, but will always be dependent on a woman.
Yes, unfortunately,
okay.
But I'm worried.
He's going to become dependent on women to provide for him and to give him the things that he needs, sexually, mentally, emotionally, spiritually, and probably financially. And then when he's around men, he's going to avoid manly men and only be around men that are like him, kind of wimpy. And then if he's ever challenged by a man, he won't have the wherewithal to stand up to him.
Yeah.
And he'll probably need his wife or his mother to go take care of the situation. So I'm telling you, you're raising a wimp. If you don't tell young men, show them a way to become a man and give them an opportunity to, they will be raised, instead of by a man, they'll be raised by their peers. They'll be raised by other boys like them who will keep them in their childhood. Look around you. How many men that you see that are in their 40s or even 50s now who are still dressing and acting like kids?
Mm-hmm.
Go to any grocery store, anywhere you go, you'll see adult men looking, acting like, and dressing like kids. And many of them are raising children. And guess who's going to be in charge when you and I are too old to make any difference? People that can't even spell your name. Okay? People that don't have enough wherewithal to even figure out any normal problem because they've been taken care of by adults who kept them as children. I suggest that you and your husband actually get some therapy, okay? Because he needs to start being a father. He's trying to be like a peer to his son, it sounds like to me.
What's that? You mean friends?
Well, yeah. Our first relationship, I'll do it very briefly. Our first relationship in life is an inferior to superiors. When you're first born and throughout your childhood, everyone is superior to you. They have mental abilities, physical abilities, all kinds of abilities that you don't have. So you're depending on them to show you how to be an adult like them, right?
Yes.
Yeah, you need them to show you how to walk, how to talk, how to feed yourself, how to dress yourself, how to drive a car, how to keep a bank account, how to work and make money. All of those things, you need the superiors to show you how to do that, right? So that's why there's special laws and considerations for children under a certain age because their brain isn't developed yet. Yeah, well, his brain isn't developed yet. He's a child. And his brain won't be developed until he's about 25 or 26 years old, by the way. People think that because you're 18, you're an adult. Your brain's still formulating until you're about somewhere between 23 to 27 years old. Towards the latter, for males, female brains develop more quickly. It's usually around 22, 23 years old. Their brain is fully developed, okay? Biologically call them adult, okay? So he's not going to be an adult for a long time, and who is he depending on to show him how to be a man?
Exactly.
Right? Now, the good thing about having a coach like on a basketball team, a football team, a wrestling team, any of those kind of teams, is that I got a lot of teaching from the men who were coaching those teams. Aside from the training that I got from my own father, which thank God he was very good at teaching me to be responsible and, you know, to take care of the things that I needed to take care of in life. I could pretty much do a lot of things when I was a kid already because my father would teach me, right?
Yes.
And every time I needed something or I wanted something, whether it was a bicycle or you know, it was usually a bicycle or a BB gun or something that a kid would want, right? Aside from whatever I would manage to score on Christmas, you know, if I wanted something special, he'd say, okay, so wash the car, or, you know, paint the back porch, or do something, you know, and earn it. You know, my dad would pay me $5 if I could do 50 push-ups. By the time I was 10 years old, I could do 50 push-ups. I had muscles, you know, and I thank him for that.
That's right, exactly. That's
you
what
know?
I was thinking. That,
you know, now I bet you if your kid says, Dad, I need $100, he probably just gives it to him.
Yes, he just gives him.
He'd just get in his pocket and give it to him, right, for nothing. I can't tell you how to manage your husband because he needs to manage himself. But you need to, if you're the mom and you're the adult around there, and you need to impose consequences. And if there's no consequences for his either bad behavior or lack of positive behavior, which is the same thing in my book, right? Mm. It's not bad behavior to sit in your bedroom and play video games. I couldn't classify that as bad behavior, but it's not good behavior.
It's all day, and it's like all summer.
Yeah,
that's the
it's
problem.
brain numbing.
Depression.
Yeah.
Doing all summer these things, or all holiday time.
Yeah. So he needs to get outside. He needs to have physical activities. Boys need physical activities, especially at that age. And I'll tell you why. If you do not channel, do you know what I mean by channel? Focus the aggressive male sexual energy, it becomes toxic to society, toxic to your family. You know, it's just a question of time before they start having temper tantrums or doing weird things that are unusual or being sexually promiscuous or some other way. Males, when they start to get a lot of testosterone between the ages of really 15 and 19, those are really, as human beings go, those are some of the most dangerous human beings on the planet. Mm. Think about it. Who do they send out into the battlefield? Young males at that age. Right? Because they can be very aggressive and very, very violent. And so I'm not saying that your son will become that way. I'm saying that it's predictable. But
he's becoming angry. For example, when I knock on his door to go and ask him something, he says, what? He's really angry that I interrupted him from his game or whatever he's doing. And then when I ask him, he says, you wasted my time, Mom. Why did you come and ask me this question? You just wasted my time. Yeah,
that kind of behavior, that is aggressive. That is like a slap in the face to the woman who changed his diapers, who carried him for 9 months, who fed him, and who's now paying his bills. That's like slapping that person in the face, verbally.
Yeah, unfortunately, his dad.
It's verbal violence. It's emotional violence.
Yes.
Okay? And so you, my dear lady, are becoming, his victim. And you need to cut it out. You need to start standing up for yourself. And I understand that you're doing that now by reaching out, and I really appreciate that. I really, really appreciate your trust in calling me and discussing this with me. And, really the problem is, I'm going to say the problem's not your son at all.
Yes, it's not my marriage, in fact.
Yeah, the problem's not your son. If you took the best son in the world and gave him you guys as parents, he would still turn out that way.
Exactly.
Right?
I know, you're right.
So the problems with you and your husband, you guys need to get together and decide to be parents. And part of, when your son speaks to you that way, his father ought to come in there and thump him in the head. Now I'm advocating violence, but his father ought to come in there and straighten him out. So you do not talk to your mother that way. And I won't put up with it. He ought to be taking your side and defending your honor against what is basically a toxic teenager. You could spend the next 10 years of your life being a victim about this. People will mostly, my experience with people is that they want the answer to their question, but even when I give it to them, they're actually unwilling to do it. So you will do almost anything except the one thing that would for sure handle the situation. If I told you exactly what to do to handle that situation, you wouldn't be willing to do it. But it might be the only thing, you understand? But most people are not willing to do what it takes to turn around a bad situation. You know, it's so much easier to correct something before it goes bad. Do you know what I mean? You know, if you have one of those GPS programs in your car and you take a wrong turn, it'll immediately put you right back on the right path, right?
That's right.
But if you keep ignoring that, it'll keep trying to tell you the way to get back to where you're going and try to find other ways, but it gets pretty complicated sometimes if you keep ignoring it, right?
Yes.
So it's so much easier just to stay on the path or to immediately correct it than it is to get something that has gone pretty wrong by now and to try to turn it around and get it right, to get it back on the right path. Because after years of being programmed by you and the father that he can do whatever he wants and speak disrespectfully and awful to you, that there's absolutely no consequences. In fact, he's rewarded for this behavior. You are rewarding him. If you walk into his room and he starts yelling at you and you turn around and give him what he wants by leaving, you just told him, oh, that behavior works every time, man. I'm going to keep doing that. That's how I should talk to all women, in fact, because it worked with my mom. And with my dad, whatever thing he's got going on with him that always gets him money anytime he wants and gets his, you know, he doesn't have to go do anything and he can just sit in his room and be left alone and get depressed. Has he started gaining weight yet?
No, in fact, one of the things he's worried, he says, I'm worried if we force him to go, he might go and do something silly, or I'm worried that he goes through depression. But I'm saying to him, look, if he goes to this program, we have saved millions of money in 10 years' time, 20 years' time to put him in rehab, and we don't know even if he's going to get better. This is saving him. This program.
Yeah.
Some people say it's like an army for kids. But
right.
Even if the kid is into depression, this kind of a scheme will help him to come out of it.
Yeah, and it should not be a choice that he has to make. I mean, you know, he could. It's like, okay, you don't want to go to the camp with this thing. That's fine. Give me your phone. Give me your computer. You know, does he have a car?
No, you're not allowed to drive in this
country. You know, what other privileges does he have that you could take away?
iPad, internet,
all that stuff. That stuff's gone. Just, okay, sit around all you want.
The problem is my husband takes them away just for a few hours or at most one day.
Yeah, because his father is a pushover. His father is trying to be his friend, which is a way of avoiding the responsibility of being a parent. Being a parent is a big responsibility. You don't get to like not be a parent and not pay the price, okay? There's a huge price for having children, especially male childs, and not fathering them. Huge cost to society, to the family, and to the man himself who never becomes a man. That's the worst cost, is to watch your son be a wimp all of his life and be codependent with women and go from one to the other and finally, you know, seek out some kind of comfort through drugs, alcohol, gambling, porn, all the stuff that men do to try to feel manly about themselves when they know they're not men and they don't know how to be because their fathers didn't teach them.
His father came here when he was very young, 18. He's getting his own.
I don't really care why his father's being the way he's being. He needs to man up and be a father. He doesn't get to avoid that responsibility. He has a responsibility not only to that boy, but to society. What, do we need another man boy running around? Do you know how much trouble they cause?
Yeah.
When you go to your car at night and you're looking over your shoulder and you're worried about something when you're in a parking lot, are you worried about manly married men? No, that's who would save you if you got in trouble. Are you worried about women? No, you're not. You're worried about toxic boys.
That's fine.
If anybody's going to harm you, it's going to be a toxic boy, okay?
Yes.
That's what our prisons are full of. Boys that did not have an upbringing by their fathers. That's what like I said, in the schools, giving kids Ritalin, which is a gateway drug to others. It's a gateway drug because it tells you that in order to feel better, there's something wrong with me. So in order to feel better, I have to have a drug.
Exactly.
That's what you're teaching them. Oh, it's okay. You just take this drug and you'll feel better.
Think about these negative things. Stop listening to these programs to learn about this and that about teenagers. He doesn't just take this serious. You think about having anxiety.
I tell you what I'm going to do. I'm going to make a video of this particular show, and I'm going to put it on YouTube, so watch for it. Okay?
In fact, I was going to ask you, how can I find tonight's program in YouTube? Is it the date?
Trainer 749. Trainer, Trainer 749. That's my channel on YouTube. Also, Gregory Morgan. You can just search Gregory Morgan on YouTube, and I have a channel called Gregory Morgan.
In YouTube, you mean?
Yep, and you can search Embrace Growth. You'll find videos on Embrace Growth too. But if you search Gregory Morgan Embrace Growth, you'll find a whole bunch of videos. Okay?
Yes.
And this, I'm going to put this one on there too.
Oh, that's good. That's
okay?
Good. Thanks a lot. Thank you very much for your...
Yeah, thank you. Thank you for your trust, and let me know how this turns out, okay?
Oh, thank you very much. I appreciate it a lot.
Okay. Good day.
Bye-bye.
All right, ladies and gentlemen. Well, that's pretty much wraps up this show. We're out of time. Thank you for watching, and I will be back here again next week on Love Talk.
برنامه دنیای عشق با دکتر آزیتا سایان، برنامه‌ای که تمامی سوالهای شما را جواب می‌دهد. ازدواج، عشق، سکس، همجنسگرایی، فرزندان، والدین، خیانت. از یوتیوب لایو استریم، فیسبوک و اینستاگرام لایو. سه شنبه ها و پنج شنبه ها 10 شب به وقت ایران و 10:30 صبح به وقت لس آنجلس. تلفن تماس با استودیو 818 532 66 55.
Welcome to the Embrace Growth app. There's a new way to communicate and join in. Create your free account online and sign into the app. Manage your profile on the go and choose between English or Farsi. Register for events and schedule appointments more easily than ever. Stream audio, video, and download books all over Wi-Fi or cellular. Sign up for workshops and seminars right on your phone. And access your audio and video library in the palm of your hand. Take your favorite lessons from Dr. Azita Sayan and Mr. Gregory Morgan with you. Download it today on the App Store. Embrace Growth has a new home online where you can easily register for workshops and events, order from the online store, and be part of the worldwide community of Embrace Growth graduates. You'll be able to see Dr. Azita Sayan and Mr. Gregory Morgan in your favorite seminars. Visit us today at embracegrowth.com. A man of character, responsibility, and resourcefulness. Become that man and join us on the journey towards manhood, finding a better person within. Embrace Growth is offering the Honor, Integrity, and Mastery Workshop in Toronto, Yerevan, and Los Angeles. Sign up today at embracegrowth.com and see the transformation in your life. The Embrace Growth app is finally here. You start by signing in just as you would online, and from there, you'll see all of your account settings. Once in the app, you'll have access to events and all of Embrace Growth's original content. Registering for workshops and seminars is easier than ever, and tools for managing your profile and options are built right in. Schedule private sessions and connect with the global Embrace Growth community. Download it today on the App Store. A haven for the weary soul, a source of inspiration and community, redesigned to bring you meaningful experiences and unforgettable events. We are a worldwide community of vibrant individuals, displayed in the people who are a part of it, from many nations, backgrounds, and beliefs. Through powerful outreach programs, the struggles of everyday life are confronted and conquered, transforming those who participate into the best versions of themselves. One-on-one sessions are available to keep you headed in the right direction, coupled with the best resources to remind you how to live, whether at home or elsewhere. Programs designed for men, providing the building blocks of maturity, commitment, integrity, and leadership, paving the way for productive and fulfilling manhood. Beyond an understanding of masculine leadership is its application in daily life and development into something truly unique. Exclusive training for women, encouraging growth and empowerment through an acceptance of their true identities, redefining interactions, and changing the viewpoint through which life is seen. Embracing the woman within and accessing facets of your personality hidden beneath the surface. Showing our youth the value of integrity and reliability by creating an indwelling desire to succeed with honor, basing the future on a solid foundation of ideals that will guide them through life, leading by example, and showing others how to clearly convey their thoughts in a compelling way, creating a culture of mature leaders who can help others achieve self-confidence and their goals. Real people and real lives are changed for the better. With every event, more are touched and come to an understanding of their place in this world and their community. Embrace Growth is run by a passionate team and led by the diligence and inspiration of Dr. Azita Sayan and Mr. Gregory Morgan, who consistently teach life lessons based on what works, rather than the passing fads of the times.
در کارگاه‌های آموزشی بانوان به رهبری دکتر آزیتا سایان با دستیابی به اهمیت و ارزش واقعی خود، قدرت زنانگی و آرامش خود را بازیابید. محیطی مناسب و هیجان انگیز برای رشد و شکوفایی عشق، ازدواج و خانواده خلق کنید. زنی شاد باشید، قلب مردان را بشناسید و آنها را درک کنید. کارگاه آموزشی بانوان، اروپا، 20 تا 22 آپریل. برای ثبت نام با تخفیف ویژه پاییزی با شماره 310 460 2600 تماس بگیرید.
دستهایم را در باغچه می کارم. سبز خواهم شد. میدانم.
تولدی دیگر، نمایشگاه نقاشی‌های مجله حبیبی به یاد فروغ فرخزاد.
گوشواری به دو گوشم می آویزم از 2 گیلاس سرخ همزاد و به ناخنهایم برگ گل کوکب می چسبانم.
شنبه 10 و یکشنبه 11 فوریه 4 تا 8 بعد از ظهر در بلو 7 گالری 3129 پیکو بولوارد در شهر سانتا مونیکا. 818 486 76 19